Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by and welcome to my channel. Today what we're going to be doing is building a MIG gun or MIG torch holder that'll help hold your gun between welds and when you're not using it. It has a magnetic base, so it is movable, and what we're using is a 3-inch 40-pound magnet, which is plenty strong to hold your MIG gun in place without it falling over. So we've got the magnet welded onto a pipe, welded onto another one, and it holds good and sturdy. I mean, your gun's not going to fall off there. It's good and solid in there. So stick around, and I'll show you how to make one.
So what I'm doing here is I've selected a pipe with the inside diameter large enough to accommodate for a flux core or MIG nozzle. It's about a 1-inch inside diameter, and what I'm doing now is I'm using my MIG gun and figuring out how long I want for a section of pipe. Now I want the end of the nozzle of my MIG gun to stick out the other end of this pipe, and I figured 2 inches roughly would be the right size. It works well. I think 2 inches would be a pretty standard size. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a flap disc and clean up the outside edges of this pipe and inside as well. You don't want any burrs or anything on here, since you're going to be sliding your gun in and out of there. You don't want to cause any unnecessary wear and tear on your welding gun. I'm just checking there, make sure there's no burrs or anything on the inside and outside. Everything is nice and smooth. Now this is the vertical bar that I'm going to use. It's a solid stock round bar. It's a 1/2 inch in diameter, and I chose 1/2 inch in diameter because you can see on the magnet there's a little pin sticking up where the threaded part is. And what I'm doing now is I'm putting in the nozzle of my MIG gun and comparing it to the pipe to figure out what length and angle I need. So I figured roughly a 45 angle would be a good angle for the holder for the gun. What I'm doing now is I'm just cleaning up the end of the pipe and putting a bit of a chamfer on there to make it easier to weld, make a better weld. And once that's done, then I'm going to cut the pipe. This not the pipe, the round stock. And I'm just double checking the angle, make sure everything's good here. And it turns out to be roughly a 45-degree angle. You could go a little less. I just didn't want it parallel to the work surface. I just thought it would be too easy for the MIG gun to just slip out. And I'm just cleaning up the burrs on the leftover piece so I don't cut myself later. So I'm cleaning up the burrs and the ends, and I'm also putting a chamfer on the end of that 45 degree where I'm going to weld up against the pipe. And there I'm checking the height and the angle, making sure everything looks good before I go ahead and weld everything into place. One thing I have to do before I weld into place is, you can rewind it if you need to, but the magnet has a little threaded section that sticks up past the top surface of the magnet. So in order for this round stock to sit flush to the top of the magnet to be able to weld it on, I have to drill a hole down the center of the rod here just to be able to go over and around that little protrusion of the threaded section. You can kind of see it there sticking up. I'm comparing it to the hole that I'm drilling in now, and I've had to use several drill bits starting from 1/8 and working my way up. uh, I didn't measure the exact final internal diameter. Your magnet may or may not have that pin sticking out, but that's one of the step bits that I'm using there. Make sure to use oil and slow speed so you don't burn out your drill bits. So I'm just going in slowly, a little bit at a time, just slowly making the hole bigger and bigger till I get to the right size. And there I'm checking the depth again. I do want it to be a little deeper than the height of that pin that's sticking out past the magnet, just to allow for any metal shavings that might get stuck in there. So again, using oil, and I'm going a little bit deeper now with the 1/8 drill bit just to help out the step bit. I find step bits work great, but sometimes the start cutting capacity of the drill bits there, the step bits aren't very good. They're good to resize an existing hole, but to start their own, sometimes I find they're not the best. That's why I always start off with a 1/8 inch drill bit. So now I went and got a larger one, a larger step bit, because the one that I had didn't work very well. So again, oil and slow speed. I'm just double checking to make sure how much bigger I need to go. There's no need in going too oversized. I'm having some problems with that vise. I'm gonna have to rebuild. Maybe I'll do a video. If you guys want to see a video of me rebuilding or restoring this vise to a like new condition, just put a comment down below, and I'll be sure to make a video of how I'm gonna go about to restore that vise. I think the teeth in there might be used up, so I'm gonna have to weld some new ones on in the auger section there that makes the vise, or the screw section that makes the vise go in and out. So if you want to see a video on that, put a comment down below, and I'll do a video for you guys. It took a lot longer than it should have, really, to put a hole into the end of this pipe. I should have had a larger drill bit right off the bat, but I kind of just used what I had laying around at the time. So it did take a little bit longer than it should have to do this part. So there I'm trying with a little bit bigger drill bit. More oil. Hopefully the magnets that you have don't have that pin on there, or if they do, you have the right size drill bit to save yourself all these save yourself this hassle. I think we have the right size now, so I cleaned everything up, and I'm just going to tack this this bar into place. And everything, I checked it out, everything looks good, nice and straight. So I'm going to go ahead and finish weld this here. I am using Flux core, so it's a bit of dirtier of a process, lots of beads. And one thing you'll notice here is that when I go to weld, you'll see sparks come from the bottom of the magnet up against the my welding table here. And what happens is there isn't a strong enough connection between the magnet and the table, which is just causing sparks to come from between the two. So what I do eventually here is I just take my ground clamp and just clamp it right to the post itself. I'm cleaning up the bottom just to get just a little bit better of a connection. And there, because it's a magnet, that top pipe holds on by itself. It holds on quite well. And here's where you can see the sparks coming from between the magnet and the table. I'm just going to trim up the end here. This one here works, and when I turn around, you'll see the sparks come between the two. See the sparks coming from underneath the magnet. So it doesn't always have a good connection, but sometimes it does. And there again, you can see it. So I'm going to get tired of that. I'm just going to put the ground clamp right on the vertical pipe there, vertical bar. So my first welds, just because that bad ground clamp connection there, they're not the prettiest, but they work. So what I'll do is I'll just take a flap disc and just kind of clean it up a little bit. Doesn't have to be super perfect. It is just a tool. It's not a showpiece. I mean, it's just to hold my MIG gun. As long as the inside of that tube along the top doesn't have a sharp edge on it where it could damage the gun. Everything else, I mean, as long as you don't cut yourself or scratch yourself on it, whatever, that's no big deal. So that's what it looks like there. We'll get a little bit of a side view on it. I'm just checking to make sure everything's is good there. Now what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning up the beads or the spatter just along the top of the magnet. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to clean it with acetone, which I did off camera. Now I'm just giving just a light coat of paint just to keep it from rusting. It is going to be indoors, so it's not that big of a problem, but I still like my tools to look nice, and that's what it looks like finished. So that's it. That's how easy it is to make one of these MIG gun holders. It took us all about 30 minutes, and you can make it faster because we had to set up the cameras and get everything rolling. But yeah, it doesn't take long to make it all, and it's a big help when you're welding. It gives you somewhere solid to put your MIG gun in between welds, and it's a big help. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell.
It really helps grow my channel. I really appreciate it, and it helps the YouTube algorithm know what content you like to watch. So thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.